we do have these new kinds of challenges. We do have contracting responsibilities and contracting inclusion. So of course, I'm just going to list countries here. We have notably declining democracy in Turkey, in Brazil, in Poland, in the Philippines, and in the United States. We have not just declining democracy within countries, we have what I label counter-cosmopolitanism, so countries that are, or actors who are challenging the very concept of international cooperation, of yielding some of your sovereignty for the greater good in international institutions. So I was praising the International Criminal Court, but we have a number of countries that have dropped out or challenged or refused to acknowledge the authority of the International Criminal Court. We have certain illiberal powers that take seats in the UN agencies. So China and Russia, particularly Russia, have joined the Human Rights Council in order to weaken it. And getting back to refugees, a personal obsession of mine, and a real test of the system, we have countries, the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom have not only failed in our responsibilities, in our implementation, but have rejected some of the principles of conventions that we signed, that we helped design. And so things like particularly offshoring refugees, in Australia putting them on islands and not letting them get into the country to apply for asylum. We put people in Mexico and don't let them apply for asylum. That is a stark violation of international law and the treaties that we designed that I just really want to particularly point out as a danger for the system. And then dehumanizing backlash. And there are three areas where I would really like to point out where I see particular conceptual dangers in terms of who is human, right? Pushing people back out of who is human. So, of course, that's a photo I took at the LA Women's March. You can't spell America without Maria. But, you know, ethnic conflict in India and Myanmar. In India, they passed this nationalities legislation that takes away the citizenship of people from a particular ethnic group. Religious homophobia, religiously inspired homophobia in Chechnya, Uganda, and Poland has cost lives. It's really quite severe. And anti-feminist regression in, you'll notice there's a similarity in the list. Remember the declining democracy list of Turkey, Brazil, Poland, Philippines, and the US? Well, all of those, plus add Russia. In Russia, a couple of years ago, they downgraded their domestic violence law. The only country in the world that, having passed a domestic violence law, downgraded its conditions. You cannot be jailed for a first offense. You cannot be put on trial unless there is physical injury that requires hospitalization now in Russia.